Welcome back to episode 10 of the Roll the Tape podcast. It's been a while, but we're glad to be back. Today we're going to be talking about Week 18, what happened in the key games going forward, and then we'll be talking about the coaches who got fired and possibly where places other coaches could go. We're going to be talking about Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, who will be the Bears quarterback next season as they have the number one pick in the NFL draft. And the Michigan head coach coming off a national championship win, John Harbaugh, will he go pro or will he stay with Michigan?
And for the NBA, we have John Morant done for the season, had that surgery on his shoulder. Lakers struggling. Do they fire Darvin Ham? We'll talk about that. Siakiam is on the trade block. Trade deadline is slowly starting to creep up for the NBA. Where will Pascal Siakam go? The Bucks are struggling, and Dame is struggling, so we're going to talk about what's going on with that. We're going to give an update on the MVP race, and we're also going to just take a bird's eye view of the NBA standings.
Yeah, so that's basically all we got for this one. But, of course, we'd like to say sorry for the big break, probably a month break, but after a break here where we're at and everything, we're back talking about sports. So now let's get right into it and roll the tape. NFL Week 18, the final regular season week of the season, and a lot of games had playoff implications. So we're going to get right into it. And obviously the first one that happened on Saturday, Steelers versus Ravens. The Ravens came into this one having the 1 seed locked up. The Steelers coming into this one needing a win to possibly get into the playoffs. And, the Steelers came out and they won 17-10. And overall, what are your guys' thoughts on the Steelers-Ravens game this past Saturday?
The Ravens did sit everybody. Not everybody, but a lot of their starting lineup. So I wasn't going to be surprised if the Steelers took this one. Good win for the Steelers. They're in the playoffs now, but their starting quarterback will be Mason Rudolph moving forward, and T.J. Watt suffered a pec injury. So will they do nothing in the playoffs? Probably. They probably won't go anywhere, but good win for the Steelers, good win for the organization to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, it was definitely a good win for the organization, especially to, there was a lot of doubters talking about will Mike Tomlin be fired after this season. I don't know why Mike Tomlin would even be questioned to be fired with what he's done with subpar teams over the past years, but this just solidifies how good of a coach he is.
I mean, the Steelers, this team, I have no clue why they're in the playoffs. I'll get more into detail on that later, but the Ravens didn't play any starters, and the Steelers somehow pulled it through and finished 10-7, and that just seems like a miracle to say the least. But going to the Saturday night game, that was basically would have been for the AFC title. Colts taking on the Texans in Indianapolis. I was at this game. I got to see it in person, and as a Colts fan, a little bit of bias here. This was rough, to say the least, but going into this one, Houston wins this 23-19. Colts had a chance at the end to go score with time ticking down. They had a 4th and 1. They threw an out pass to a third-string running back. He dropped it. The Colts lose. Texans going to win. C.J. Stroud, as a rookie, goes to the playoffs. Tough game for the Colts, but the Texans move on.
Yeah, whenever we saw the Colts get that field goal, opening driver thought, all right, this will probably be a normal Gardner Minshew game. He'll probably put up 20 points. And then we see C.J. Stroud strut onto the field. First play of the game, 75-yard nuke to Nico Collins. And all I could think was C.J. Stroud is really better march into Indy and take care of business like he has all year. And he did, and he pulls out the dub. Obviously, if Goodson catches that ball, we might not be talking about C.J. Stroud right now. But tough break for the Texans. I think the Texans have a lot of potential moving forward in the playoffs.
Yeah, this is a tough game for the Colts. Coming from also a Colts fan, a little Colts bias right here. It was a tough game to watch, but you got to look at the positives. Rookie head coach comes in here, takes a 4-win team to a 9-win team, almost a playoff team, and you didn't even have your starting quarterback for most of the year. And you really got to look at it just as the Colts have a lot of cap space. They have a good draft pick, and they have a rookie quarterback that looked pretty good at the beginning of the season. Oh, yeah. So we just gotta see where it goes from there.
I mean, if you look at it, the Colts have one of the most brightest futures, I think, in the league. They have 15th pick in the draft. They have Anthony Richardson come back, who didn't look bad whenever he did play in a few games. They're going to be better. They have cap space. Like you said, obviously they have some holes, but I think they have a really good core. Jonathan Taylor was back to MVP form in this one. He had 188 yards rushing, a touchdown, 30 carries. You wonder why he wasn't in on the last play. Obviously, he's not a pass-catching back, but you want to have your best players make plays. And, well, the Colts didn't do that. They have a bright future, but the Texans hold strong. They win this one. They go to the playoffs. Obviously, if you look ahead now, the Texans just were celebrating to win the game and celebrating to make the playoffs. They had no clue what would happen Sunday. You move to Sunday, Titans versus Jaguars. If the Jags win, they win the AFC South. If they lose, well, they miss the playoffs, and the Steelers get in, which no one would expect. The Jags once were 8-3. And, well, the Titans win 28-20. Trevor Lawrence looked like a bozo. He's not that. He played bad. You think Gardner Minshew missed on his pass?
Ooh, that last
Lawrence
pass
just overthrew him.
That last pass
wasn't even close.
To Evan Ingram to end the game was terrible.
It was terrible. And, well, the Titans pulled through. Ryan Tannehill didn't play good, to say the least, but he played good enough. 2 touchdowns and interceptions.
This was a Derrick Henry game.
But Derrick Henry said, bye-bye Tennessee, as this is his last game with the Titans. He had a vintage Derrick Henry game, 153 rushing, a touchdown, 19 carries. DeAndre Hopkins also caught one in the end zone as well. Titans pull it out. Trevor Lawrence, 29 for 43, 280, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And before we really talk about this game, I have a question real quick. Is it time to worry about Trevor Lawrence going forward for the Jaguars?
I mean, if you look at just look at his resume in the NFL so far. He's shown flashes. He made the playoffs. He did get to the playoffs last year. But what happened?
He lost.
Well, he won.
Oh, well, he won, but then he
won
lost.
the first round. But then he played awful in moving forward, and they lost because of him. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he's okay. He's still young. He's still a 25-year-old pocket passer. I mean, his style of QB play, he'll last a long time. He's probably a couple years away from his prime, but at this point, if you're just giving him Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones to throw to with a mid-offensive line, he's not going to be able to show off that potential. And he's really gotten nowhere in his career if we really look at it in the bigger picture.
I think it's more – I'm not going to say it's coaching because Doug Peterson's a good coach. He obviously won a Super Bowl. But
is he a good coach?
Do you think he got carried by Frank Reich in that Super Bowl run?
I don't think he's
I think he got carried by Nick Foles.
I don't think he's that good. I mean, besides that 1 year in Philadelphia where they go and win the Super Bowl, what has he done?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Not a thing.
They fired him for a reason. I mean, they gave him you see what happened to Philadelphia after that year. They go from a Super Bowl to like a 6-win team in like a year.
But he's better than Urban Meyer. He's better than Urban Meyer.
Oh, for sure. I think I'm better than Urban Meyer.
I think he's all right, but
I think he's all right. But
I don't think he's anything crazy about it. I think if the Jags going to be a team that's going to be a contender, they need to fire him. They will never.
You think they should fire him right now?
Yeah, I do. I mean, they had to collapse this. They were 8-3, and you finished with 9-8, and you're supposed to have the quote unquote future of the league in Trevor Lawrence. He should be fired. He shouldn't be in that building.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, as of right now,
this
is
team
no
has
longer
so much talent. And 9-8, no.
Trevor Lawrence is no longer the best QB in the AFC South after 1 year. It's C.J. Stroud.
No, C.J. Stroud, and I would even look at it and not put Richardson over. I'd take Anthony Richardson right now.
I wouldn't take Richardson over him right now just because we haven't had a big enough sample size.
I'd put Lawrence over Richardson.
I'd put Lawrence over Richardson right now, but next year it's definitely.
It's not a crazy take, but if we really look at it,
it could be up for debate next year. But as of right now, I'm still.
If you asked me 4 years ago, and would Trevor Lawrence be a top 3 quarterback in 4 years after being with Jazz? I'd say yeah, 100%. And he's not even a top 10 guy.
Arguably.
He's not.
This season,
I could name 10 guys.
This season, no.
This season, no, but overall, you could argue him top 10.
I could take 10 people over him just out there.
Okay, yeah, well, right now, I'd take
him or Dak.
I'd take Baker Mayfield over Trevor Lawrence right now. Baker Mayfield's
going forward?
Not going forward, but in this season, I'd take Baker.
Okay, I could name 10 guys going forward that I'd want to take.
All right, so you're taking like Kirk pre-injury over Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
Okay. Dak?
Yeah. Dak's top 5.
Dak's top 3. Dak's top 3.
Is he top 3?
I would say Lamar, him, and
Well, I would say, right.
Mahomes.
I mean, if you're saying like quarterbacks right now, top 3, yes. Going forward, he's not top 3.
Going
he's
forward,
top 5,
absolutely not.
He's 5. for me.
If we're saying going forward, I think Stroud might be number 1.
But I'd say going forward, my top 5, we're going on a little bit of a tangent, but this is what you get. I'd say my top 5 going forward, quarterbacks going into the years past, I'd say Mahomes is 1.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say Lamar's 2, Stroud 3, and 4, Josh Allen, and then 5, Dak Prescott.
Going into next year.
Going forward.
But Dak's like 31 though.
That's like 30.
30, but I mean, you look what he did this year.
Yeah.
So you're not putting Tua in that.
I mean,
conversation.
he needed a prime CeeDee Lamb and a Brandon Cooks and a Jake Ferguson though.
Yeah, I mean, but we could say that about almost any NFL
Yeah, that's
quarterback.
true.
Josh Allen needed, I mean, who he has. I mean, just every quarterback has weapons.
Oh, who you taking right now, Herbert or Lawrence?
Oh,
Herbert.
that's tough because they're
You
both.
taking Herbert?
Herbert.
I don't know.
Okay, Herbert.
I don't know. 'Cause
Between that playoff game,
Both of them have.
both of them had bad years this year. Arguably,
both
for
of them
different
have just been
reasons.
disappointing.
their whole careers.
Period. Yeah.
Well, I think
Statistically, yeah.
I think for Herbert, it's more on the Chargers. The Chargers just flat out suck.
Oh, I don't know though.
He's had bad games.
He's had Keenan Allen. He has
Uh,
Mike
that-
Williams.
I
He
would-
has
that Chargers defense is
That
hideous.
Chargers
Austin
defense sucks.
Eckler.
I think it's more on
It's
the
awful.
team than him. I think because the Chargers go out there and score points almost every game,
Their defense
but
is
their
so
defense gives up points every game. So it's kind of just like I wouldn't blame it on
Yeah.
Herbert because at least for Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville has a solid defense.
But
At least-
I mean, if Justin Herbert's really that guy, he'd make the playoffs with the system he's in. He'd make the playoffs.
I mean,
with
yeah,
the,
but he can score, but he can't stop the other team from scoring.
yeah. I mean,
And
I
Mike
don't
Williams
know.
gets hurt like at least once a year. Mike Williams, I don't know.
Same with Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen gets hurt at least
But I
a
mean,
couple
his
games
offensive
a
line is good. I mean, they go up
I
and
wouldn't say
draft.
it's
I mean, they go out and draft Rashawn Slater. They go out and draft Quentin Johnston. Now, obviously, Johnston's been a bust. Still another weapon to throw to. He's not. It's not like he's
year. Austin
a
Eckler's lost a
liability.
step though. Austin
Austin
lost a step.
Eckler's
He's lost
his
more in the
step.
step.
He's lost the contract.
You have
is what he
Keenan
lost.
Allen, who I think is. I think Keenan Allen's the best route runner in the league.
No, it's still Diggs.
No, it's
Or it's Jefferson. I don't know because Jefferson's a good route runner, but I don't know. Diggs has been the best route runner for
I'd
years.
say-
Where's Diggs been recently?
I think it's.
not getting the ball.
I think it's Keenan Allen and Diggs 1A, 1B, and then
I
I'd say
think
Justin Jefferson's 2 or.
if that's
3
your
or
1A,
whatever, but-
1B, then Justin Jefferson's S tier. So he's above them to me.
I would say
Wow.
Stephon
But
Diggs is the best route
Keenan
runner.
Allen, I would agree, is up there, top 3 in route running. Yes.
Keenan Allen before his ankle got hurt was like
Give Patrick Mahomes Keenan Allen.
Oh, it's over.
My.
Super
It's over.
Bowl team right there.
It's
Oh, it's
over.
over.
Give Patrick Mahomes anyone who can catch the ball. It's over.
Give
Give Patrick Mahomes
give
like
him Juju
Brandon
Smith-Schuster back.
Cooks. Yeah.
Yeah, Juju, yeah, honestly.
Juju Smith-Schuster back. And he's
Honestly,
making the
but-
Super Bowl.
But sorry about the tangent. We'll get back into it. Jacksonville obviously loses. Tennessee obviously has some stuff we'll talk about that just happened recently in later segments. But Jacksonville misses the playoffs. Titans fall down. And they stand strong. Final game of the year. Still finish 6-11. But moving ahead now to another game that had a little bit of playoff implications here. And the Packers taking on the Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears, obviously a team that has the number 1 pick in the draft. But they were still fighting to win games because, well, you already have the number 1 pick. You might as well go out strong. Well, they didn't go out strong. They struggled to score 10. Green Bay wins 17-9. And Jordan Love. I think it's time we talk about Jordan Love because 316 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I don't think there's been 10 quarterbacks in the past 7 weeks better than Jordan Love. Jordan Love on the year, 32 touchdowns. Very minimal interceptions. Jordan Love is a top 15 quarterback, really.
Oh yeah.
I would agree. And coming from a Bears fan, it kind of hurts to say that Packers have another potential franchise quarterback.
Yep.
Now, he might not be an Aaron Rodgers, but he'll be good. He was dicing up the Bears' defense, and he only put up 17 points on the Bears, but it felt like a lot more. I mean, that Aaron Jones was stomping all over the Bears. The Bears couldn't stop, what's his name, Wicks, Devontae Wicks, whatever his name is, Javion Wicks, whatever his name is. We couldn't stop Wicks. We couldn't stop Jaden Reed. Like,
Jaden Reed had 112. Wicks had 2 touchdowns.
yeah. So, I mean,
they just defensively, and that kind of raises questions of our next segment that we'll get into. The Bears obviously have a decision to make. with the number 1 pick.
More than one decision.
And
Yeah.
their defense is bad, so that their decision might go into
I don't know
that.
about
But
The defense has been good the past couple weeks, but it was this game. I think it's just the Packers' curse.
Ever since they
Yeah.
traded for Sweat, they've been a top 3D in the league.
really,
Statistically,
yeah.
They have the most turnovers in second most turnovers in the league.
It's just something about playing in Lambeau, man. I don't
They
know
just
what it
lose
is.
-10 all attributes whenever they step foot in Lambeau, or just against the Packers in general. They just forget how to play football. I don't know what it is.
just going through real quick. Cowboys destroy the Commanders. They clinched that division.
Not
over
even
there
close.
In the NFC.
Even close.
Going out to another game that's for that division. The Eagles taking on the New York
Eagles
Giants.
fly.
The Giants smacked the Eagles, and the crazy thing is the Eagles played their starters in this game, and they looked to win. The Giants had 27, Eagles had 10. Is Jalen Hurts broken?
Well, I know
What's
Jalen
going
Hurts
on?
got hurt at one point in the game, and they took him out for Marcus Mariota, and he was able to come back in.
Yeah.
They just never put him in because they were already down by like 27 at that point.
Did you guys see his middle finger?
Yeah, it was like all the way down this.
That was gross.
And then I think AJ Brown got hurt in this game too, but I think I think he's fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine for the playoffs.
He'll be fine for the playoffs. I think Devontae Smith was obviously out, but he'll probably be back for the playoffs. But this Eagles team has a lot of questions, especially defensively. 'Cause how do you let Tyrod Taylor and
like what?
Jalen
Jalen
Hyatt
Hyatt? Yeah.
go for 27 points? Obviously, Saquon Barkley had a huge part in that. But to let Tyrod Taylor dice you up in the secondary
Man,
with
Tyrod Taylor, by the way. Tyrod Taylor, bottom 35 quarterback in the league.
yeah,
And I mean,
Eagles are finished.
the Eagles started. Did they start 10-0 or 9-0? When did they lose their first game?
was it 8?
I think it was 9.
What was their first loss?
I think
was
they
it
were.
the Niners. No, it wasn't the Niners. It was
it was the Jets.
it was the Jets.
It was the Jets. They were
I think they started like 7 or 8 now.
something like that.
But they had a
I mean, but they were 10-1 from August to November.
and
Or
then-
no, early November. And then from late November to December, they went 1-5.
they just
terrible.
Going into the playoffs, that's unacceptable. And honestly, I don't think taking the Bucks over them is crazy.
Yeah. I
and
mean,
we'll get into that.
We'll get into it.
getting smacked at home by the Niners really, like, I guess, hurt their confidence.
Yeah.
42-19.
42-19. They
So
let Debo Samuel go in there and just dog walk them.
let's move ahead now to another game that had some playoff attentions. Rams taking on the Niners. Niners obviously resting their players. The Rams also coming into this game resting their players. Obviously, with a win, the Rams can move up and play the Lions in this game, which they did, 21-20. And my guy Carson Wentz had vintage Carson Wentz moments
Yes, sir.
as he was clutch. Somehow had 17 carries.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta
Okay.
let Carson Wentz cook.
He was cooking all right, but
Those
Carson
probably weren't
Wentz,
even design carries. Those probably just
Carson Wentz just said,
All right,
"Nah."
he
let's
just
go.
said, nah.
I'm running. I haven't played any games. this
I was
season.
watching the game, and at one point, I think it was an RPO with him and Kyron Williams, and he was supposed to. He didn't hand the ball off to Kyron Williams. He pulled it back to himself, and instead of
It wasn't Kyron Williams. He didn't play in this game.
then it was
But it was Ronnie Rivers.
Ronnie
their backup,
Rivers.
yeah.
He pulled it away from Ronnie Rivers, and instead of handing it off, he followed Ronnie Rivers into the hole and had Ronnie Rivers block for him up the field.
That's just.
What is he? Who does he think he is? I mean, he
Lamar
won the
Jackson.
game, but
Well, hey, who do you think he is? He just won the game.
He
for
did
him.
win the game.
And honestly, after this game, he might have just earned himself another.
Oh, he's gonna earn
chance
himself
to
another.
start.
I don't know about start, but he definitely earned.
Well,
a
he's
chance to-
he's 100% going to be a backup.
He's gonna be a backup. Yeah, no team is not gonna give him a shot after this game.
I still think Carson Wentz is better than. I still think he's a top 32 QB in this league.
I think he still has some
I
OG
think he
Carson
could-
Wentz.
I
in him,
think he
maybe.
could have
yeah.
a Baker Mayfield resurgence. Honestly,
If
I think he
didn't-
could.
If he didn't roll both ankles in one play somehow, maybe he'd be somewhat decent.
man, that was insane.
That was insane. Now he's on that team that rolled both of his ankles in one play.
Yeah, that's just
He
a.
plays across from Aaron Donald, who did that to him in one
Man, that
game.
was just an insane time to be a Colts fan.
It
but
was insane time.
Carson Wentz 3 total touchdowns and interception. The Rams advance, and then we get the epic showdown: Lions versus Rams. We'll talk about that in a little bit, and then finally the final game of the NFL regular season, Week 18, for an AFC East championship: Bills versus Dolphins. And well, the Buffalo Bills score 14 points in the fourth quarter and win 21-14. The Dolphins have a chance to go down and tie the game with a touchdown. Well, Tua turns it over.
Tua turn the ball over.
We'll turn the ball over.
And, well, the Bills win the AFC East after starting, 2-5 or something like that.
Something like that.
Just a remarkable recovery by them. They finished 11-6 and the 2 seed in the AFC.
I saw a
Something
stat
crazy.
that said that the Patriots have more wins over 500 teams than the Dolphins do.
I mean, if you follow us on TikTok, Roll the Tape Sports, I made a talked about the Dolphins, how they can't be good teams.
They can't be good teams.
And
They're
well-
allergic to good teams. To
And
beating
well,
good
they
teams.
beat the Cowboys, right?
They beat the Cowboys, and
That was their only.
that
good
was their
team
only win, and that came in like what, week 14?
Week 15, week
Week
16.
15.
something
That was after the Cowboys' midseason prime.
Yeah. So, but yeah, midseason prime, the Cowboys just put 38 up.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are very good. But moving along now, NFL playoffs. We're going to break down a few of these games, and then we'll do our picks. We will be tracking our picks throughout the playoffs, by the way, and we're going to have a tally and see who's the best. So
All right.
let's pay attention here. Someone here write down who we're picking.
All right. I got it.
Get that. There we go. See, we're going on a limb. It's just sometimes what you got to do.
What you gotta do?
But yeah, let's talk about it. Here we go. So obviously the 1 seed in the NFC was the 49ers. So they get a bye. They won't play till next week. But this weekend, obviously we'll talk about the 4 and the 5 going on with the Eagles taking on the Buccaneers. And hey, that does prove it right there. You guys all picked a different team in that division, and I won. The Buccaneers, my team, won the NFC South. Shout out the Buccaneers.
For reference, Jackson had the Buccaneers. I had the Falcons. Aiden had the Saints.
And well, I said Baker Mayfield's the best thing.
He
best
turned
quarterback in that
he
division.
turned into Oklahoma Baker Mayfield at the end
And
of
this
that
guy
season.
said Derek Carr is better. Aiden did, and I'm like, no. And Baker Mayfield 28
Hey, let's not
touchdowns
diss on
the
Derek
season.
Carr. He threw 3 touchdowns
Okay.
against the Falcons. I'm just joking. No, Baker
Shout out
Mayfield's
James
better.
Winston, by the way. But
Shout out Jamal
kneel the ball.
Williams.
Nah, we're running.
we running it.
Nah, we got it.
He
Let's
almost
just
got
add six
he almost
more.
got his coach fired.
That's crazy.
Imagine.
But then obviously the Eagles, great team at the start, started 10-1, had the midseason collapse, losing 5 out of their last 6. So who you guys have? Game is going to be played in Tampa Bay, and you have the 4 versus the 5. And I'm going to go on a limb. I'm picking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to knock off the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Baker Mayfield's going to come in it and really show who he is, as he has had a resurgence this season. And, well, it's in Tampa Bay, and the Eagles, they do not look good. Injuries happen, and Jalen Hurts is banged up and not playing well. I'm going to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers knock off the Philadelphia Eagles.
You know what? The Buccaneers make that too. I'll also say the Bucs are going to take this one. If you look into the playoffs, it always matters about who's red hot. The Buccaneers are red hot right now, and the Eagles are ice cold. Like Jackson said, they're banged up. I mean, yeah, they still have weapons healthy, but huge pieces are hurt. A.J. Brown just suffered a little knee injury in the last game. Jalen Hurts' middle finger was sideways. I mean, those are all going to impact the game, and the Bucs are completely healthy. They're on a hot streak. I'll take the Bucs.
I'm going to take the best team in the series in this playoff game. I'm going to take the Eagles. I think the Eagles go ahead and get it done because you can't lose. You can't go from being a Super Bowl team last year to losing to Baker Mayfield. No disrespect to Baker Mayfield. He's playing great this year. But if the Eagles lose to Baker Mayfield, Nick Sirianni's probably getting fired. Jalen Hurts is going to be questioned.
Fired?
Yeah. Nick Sirianni, by all reports, might have lost the locker room.
I mean, ever since he joined as the Eagles coach, though, he doesn't
do anything.
That's true.
He isn't the play caller because whenever he was the play caller, they were bad, and he gave it to Steichen, and they made the Super Bowl. And now Steichen's gone, and then Jonathan Gannon's gone, so they suck on defense too.
Their defense is so bad.
So
their defense is horrendous.
If the Eagles end up losing this game, they might.
They might clean house.
They might clean house on that coaching staff. They could.
And Sirianni would be obviously a top guy to be an offense coordinator who did good things with the Colts as an offense coordinator. Obviously, being the coach led them to Super Bowl last year. But obviously, with not Reich, Steichen leaving that Philadelphia team, that offense hasn't looked the same since.
Nope.
And just questions if they lose this game. Ultimately, time will tell. But we got our picks in. Now moving along. We're going for the 3 and the 6, the Detroit Lions, who had a phenomenal season, and then the Los Angeles Rams. And a few years ago, these teams had a trade of quarterbacks, basically a swap. Obviously, more picks going to the Lions from the Rams. Well, the Rams got a Super Bowl out of that, and now the Lions are looking to get their Super Bowl out of it. The Lions haven't won a playoff game since the 90s. All of us were not alive yet. And, well, I'm going to pick the Lions. I've been high on the Lions all season long. I really like Jared Goff. I think Goff is better right now than Matthew Stafford. But I mean, this is going to be crazy. Matthew Stafford back playing the Detroit Lions in Ford Field, a place he played a lot of his career and a place he calls home still to this day. So this is going to be a really emotional game. I could see it going either ways. The Rams, they're a team that kind of struggled at the start of the year, and they really figured it out. They have 2 top 10 receivers on their team. So this could go either way, but I'm going to pick the really high-powered Dan Campbell-led Detroit Lions.
I'm going to stick on the underdog train. I'm going to take the Rams. Yes, the Lions are red hot, but the Rams are completely turned this season around. After they figured things out, they had a tremendous record. And Puka Nacua, obviously getting that reception record, is going to lift spirits, lift confidence. The whole locker room for the Rams are in it right now, and they know they have a real chance. I mean, we saw literally 2 years ago Matthew Stafford hoist a Lombardi trophy. The Rams have experience. The Lions don't. Like you said, they haven't won a playoff game since 1990s, in the 90s. So I'm going to give it to the Rams just because they have Stafford and they have the experience. I think they just have the overall culture to win this.
One sec, I just want to add in there. I think people forget Jared Goff led the Rams to a Super Bowl.
I was about to bring that right out.
I mean, he did. He has the playoff experience. He took that team to Super Bowl. Obviously, it was a bad Super Bowl for the Rams, but he took them there, and he won a lot of games in L.A. So just a little bit of stuff.
Did he or his defense win a lot of games in L.A.?
He managed.
Or Todd Gurley.
He game managed.
Yeah, Todd Gurley, yeah, but
Jared Goff was
Goff's
a game
definitely
manager
better
in
now
LA.
than he was.
Oh, yeah.
But
this Goff right here
yeah.
is definitely better.
This is prime Goff right here.
Yeah, but
yeah.
just
Speaking of
he
prime
does have
Goff,
it. But go ahead.
I'm taking the Lions.
Yeah.
I think that Lions offense is high-powered. And although the Rams offense is also high-powered, I think that the Lions have a slight edge just because I feel like the Lions might have a better running game with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. No slight to Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams has been balling this year. But in terms of running backs, like as a duo, not Kyron Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery have been balling this season. Yeah, along with Amon-Ra, and the way Jared Goff's been playing, and the way the defense has been playing too, I'm just going to take the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, it could go in either way. I think this is going to be in the NFC the closest game between these 3. So moving ahead now to the final game of the wild card slot. You got the 2 going against the 7, and the Cowboys taking on the Green Bay Packers. And, well, I don't think this is going to be close. I like Jordan Love. I like the Packers, but Cowboys by 20. This Cowboys team is high-powered. CeeDee Lamb is probably a top 3 receiver right now in the NFL. Dak Prescott's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL right now. And their defense, well, it has a top 3 defensive player in the NFL right now in Micah Parsons. They turn over the ball on defense. They get turnovers, and, well, they don't turn it over on offense. And you know what that leads to? Winning. I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Yeah, this one shouldn't be too much of a debate. Don't have to think too much about this one. I'll also take Dallas.
How about them Cowboys? I'm also taking the Cowboys.
Clean sweep. Our first clean sweep of the day.
Yeah, it shouldn't be close.
No, it shouldn't. If it is, there's...
Especially since, the Cowboys have not lost at home this season.
I mean, the Packers are extremely hot right now. I'm pretty sure they're like winners of 5 of their last 6 or something like that. They're on a winning streak right now going to the playoffs, which is good for them. But the Cowboys are just like, their roster is just way too deep for the Packers to handle, I feel like.
But, hey, you never know. Imagine the Packers pull it out. That would just be the Cowboy fans.
Yeah, I'd hate that.
If the Cowboys lose this game, you clean house.
Because Cowboys fans think this is their year. I mean, they think that every year. They're legitimately thinking this is their year.
It could be their year.
Hey, also,
it's a chance.
Because the Eagles suck this year. So their really only competition is the Niners.
Also, I want to highlight the Rams and the Lions. They made that trade. They have players playing against their old teams. But Mike McCarthy, Cowboys head coach, was the head coach of the Packers in the Aaron Rodgers era. Won the Super Bowl for Green Bay back in 2010. So this will be another. This will be more. Yeah, this will be more than just a playoff game.
And the Cowboys fans are going to get a little bit of PTSD from that. Was it Dez Bryant catch that wasn't really a touchdown?
Yeah, payback.
I think it was a catch.
It was a catch.
Yeah.
Hey.
Can't.
You can't win them all. You feel me? You can't win them all.
And you definitely can't overturn that in 2024. But,
nope.
No. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen some things change playoff games. Pass interference, no pass interference.
Yeah.
Does Jared Goff go to the Super Bowl? I don't know. But, yeah. But moving along to the AFC, the other side of the playoffs. And, well, we got some really good matchups over here as well. I'm going to look at the bottom of the bracket here. Bills versus Steelers.
Blowout.
Bills by 1,000. The Steelers are still really, really, really bad.
Smash the over. Smash the under.
Just imagine the Steelers win this game. I will personally glaze the Steelers for the next 4 episodes. It doesn't matter.
Imagine Mason Rudolph comes out, just starts slinging it to George Pickens.
But if the Bills lose this game, they have to fire their coach.
Oh, Sean
McDermott's gone.
Done.
He's gone.
If
you lose to this Steelers team is bad. I don't care. They're 10-7.
And T.J. Watt's hurt too.
T.J. Watt's hurt. I mean, this Steelers team, honestly, without their Mike Tomlin or a 4-win team, they're not good. Somehow they pulled it out. The Colts even embarrassed them, and I thought that they were done. And then they just started winning again. This team always does this.
I don't know
they
what it
always
is.
are bad, and they just pull it out. They don't even have Kenny Tugos playing. They have Mason Rudolph, a guy who wasn't
I'd
even
rather
on the
have
team
Mitch
at the start of the
Trubisky.
year.
I'd rather be having Mitch Trubisky play than
Mitch Trubisky's bad.
Mitch
Mason
Trubisky
Rudolph.
Mitch Trubisky's the worst quarterback on that team.
He's so bad.
I'd rather have him than.
I studied him for a whole game. He's bad. Mason Rudolph gives them a
game
chance.
against the Colts, Mason Rudolph might have won that game against the Colts. Mitchell Trubisky was not.
God, he was just handing out interceptions.
Kenny Pickett could have won that game against the Colts. Mitchell Trubisky was not.
No, but the Bills, they should win this by a lot. Josh Allen is honestly having a really good year. 44 total touchdowns, which leads the league. It would be an understatement if the Bills lose this game.
Fantasy football MVP, by the way, too, for the fantasy. He actually did have more points than Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey total. I have no clue because of how many interceptions and fumbles he has. But
but he does get a lot of touchdowns.
He had like 44 touchdowns combined in total.
He gets a lot of rushing yards and touchdowns too. But moving along now to another game that a lot of people are going to be watching, Browns versus Texans. This is the 4 versus the 5 here. And this is definitely going to be an interesting one because the Browns, obviously, Deshaun Watson gets hurt. They've had some other QB injuries. They go out and sign a 38-year-old Joe Flacco. And, Joe Flacco says, I can fling that thing far. And, he's been doing that. The Browns have been on a winning streak. Their defense is phenomenal. They have a good running game, even though Nick Chubb is not there. And then Houston, kind of the story of the playoffs. If they could go on a run, C.J. Stroud, a rookie quarterback, a rookie head coach, and a team that was really bad last year. Now in the playoffs for the first time in a while. A lot of things can happen. 2 different stories to follow, but I'm going to say the Browns pull it out. I think eventually it just happens. Rookie quarterbacks don't necessarily win in the playoffs. Obviously, we saw it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Andrew Luck didn't even win his first playoff game, and he was a guy who played phenomenal for his first few years.
Arguably the greatest rookie QB of all time.
Yeah, Justin Herbert didn't even make the playoffs whenever he was the greatest statistically rookie quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
But it would be great if Stroud could do it, but rookie quarterbacks do not perform well in the playoffs. I'm going to say the Browns win by a good margin.
I'll also say the Browns as well. As much as I want to see C.J. Stroud succeed, just because what we're witnessing with him right now is insane, I think it's got to be the Browns. I think the defense is way too dominant. Joe Flacco, he has this playoff experience. I know
something about
that Flacco.
I know it's been like
There's
over a
something about
decade. I know it's been over a decade since he won that Super Bowl with the Ravens, but
he was also benched by the Ravens like 6 years ago. It's crazy. Imagine the Browns go and play the Ravens and beat them.
I'd cheer for the Browns all the way.
That'd be just a get back.
It was crazy because it was like Joe Flacco, RG3, and Lamar Jackson all on the Ravens at the same time.
Joe Flacco was not good.
That's a crazy QB room.
The only thing that could kill the Browns, before you make your pick, I just want to say this: Joe Flacco likes to fling that thing, and he flings it like Brett Favre.
Yep.
And he's going to throw you 2 interceptions a game. Well, against a playoff team and the Texans, 2 interceptions might hurt you. So if he does that, especially whenever they start playing good or better teams like the Ravens, even the Chiefs, Dolphins, Bills, you can't throw 2 interceptions against those teams. So that could be their only downfall, but of course I'll stick with my prediction.
I think the story of Flacco ends right here. I think that Houston, especially at home, NRG Stadium is a great stadium. It has great fans. I've seen this for the past whole lot of years of my life being a Colts fan. And I think that C.J. Stroud does what C.J. Stroud did against the Colts in basically a playoff game. I mean, he showed out in basically a playoff game against the Colts. And
he looked good.
He did look good. And
75-yard nuke out the gates.
That Houston defense is real.
Underrated.
And they were missing their top sack leader, Grenard, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He was out that game. And then that secondary is elite as well with Jimmy Ward, Derek Stingley. And then if they can just get their running game going.
Jalen Petre.
Jalen Petre, he was kind of locking up Alec Pierce, but that happens a lot to Alec Pierce.
He's open all the time. Just Gardner can't throw it far. Never mind.
no Colts talk right now. If the Texans get their run game going against this stout running defense by the Browns,
It's gonna be hard.
it's going to be hard. But if they can get that going, especially with the play action that C.H. Stroud can do, I think the Texans can pull this out.
All right, and then moving along to the final wild card game in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Miami Dolphins. And, well, the Miami Dolphins, Tyreek Hill, this is another game. Tyreek Hill going back to Kansas City. Can he do it? The Kansas City Chiefs are going to have they've not been good this year. Travis Kelce has taken a step back. Taylor Swift maybe calls that. I doubt it. I think people have to remember he's 34.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins are a young team with a really good head coach. But, well, they can't beat good teams. And I think it comes down to that. I'm taking the Chiefs.
I don't know. This game will be like 45-41. There will be absolutely no defense play no matter what. I'm going to take the Dolphins. And the reason being for that, it's going to be a shootout. And when it comes to shootouts, obviously I know Patrick Mahomes is historically good at shootouts. But, like, his wide receivers this year have been terrible. Kadarius Toney's been bad. Why'd you even bother trading for McCole Hardman? He barely does anything at this point.
Yeah, he's been hurt, really.
Yeah, I know. And then the only bright spot other than Mahomes on this team is Rashee Rice. That is the only viable piece he has. Creed Humphrey took a dip down from last year. Even Patrick Mahomes himself doesn't look like Patrick Mahomes from a few years ago. But if we're going solely off a shootout, I think Tua has more weapons. He has more to work around, and I think that offense is more high-powered of a offense than a Patrick Mahomes-led offense, which is crazy to say. But so I'll take the Dolphins.
I'm taking the Dolphins too for basically everything that Aiden just said. That offense, almost unstoppable, really. If it's firing on all cylinders like it usually is, if they get Raheem Mostert back, Tyreek Hill is healthy, Jalen Waddle is healthy, there's really almost no team in the league that can stop that downfield offense.
Yeah.
Along with that run game too. Like that run game's good.
Very good.
Like people think that the run game's like a secondary.
Raheem
Mostert's a 32-year-old Pro Bowler as a running back, as a
think
skill
that
position.
The run game's like a secondary. That's almost like their first option is to run the ball.
Yeah,
and then play action off that. So like
and throw it deep.
Because once you pull those safeties up to help the run game, Tyreek Hill's blasting you down the field.
That's their game.
That's literally the game plan. So
if you stop the run, they have nothing. And the Bills did that last week.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So we had Dolphins, and you had the Chiefs.
Hit the Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take the Dolphins just because I think that offense is just almost unstoppable.
So all right, the picks are in. So we're gonna keep it there.
We'll come back to it.
We'll come back to it next
week.
The game's happening. We'll obviously pick divisional round winners as well. But moving along now, a little bit of coach firings happening. Let's just go over what's happened so far. So Mike Vrabel got fired today from the Tennessee Titans. Ron Rivera got fired from the Commanders. Arthur Smith got fired from the Falcons, and also possibly Bill Belichick getting fired. Stanley with the Chargers possibly getting fired as well.
Well, he already got fired.
Well, he got fired, yeah. I don't know how I forgot that. I've been talking about John
After
Harbaugh
like
going there for like a while.
What was the score of that game? 63-10.
Yeah, that was bad. He did get fired in the regular season. I forgot.
He got fired on the flight home.
Yeah,
they left him in Las Vegas.
He's still there, but yeah, and obviously there's been rumors of Belichick possibly getting fired for New England as well. But we're talking about Mike Vrabel for the first one here, and this is the most surprising to me. Mike Vrabel is a very good coach. I think he's a top 10, maybe even top 5 coach in the league. He gets the players. I do.
No. I'm nodding. I'm saying no in disbelief that they fired him.
Oh yeah. No.
I'm not nodding to you.
It's
saying
crazy. I think he's a top 5 coach.
I agree. I think
he's a player's coach, and that's what you want in this league. And he's a very good. Obviously his defense is very good. It's not his fault that Tennessee sucks, but them firing him is definitely something. And I think he's going to get bag wherever he's going to go. And if he steps down and becomes a defensive coordinator, he will be the highest paid defensive coordinator by far.
Oh yeah.
But he will have any head coaching job coming for him. But the real question is since the Titans fire him, where do you think Vrabel's going to go?
Like all the rumors I've been seeing is that if Belichick gets fired or steps down, he's going to New England because he's in the Ring of Honor
Yeah, I mean, him
I would
as-
say
of
New
New
England's a
England.
perfect fit for
It
him.
is a perfect fit.
I would
Because New
agree.
England always emphasizes defense, and
Mhm.
Vrabel is your traditional defensive coach.
Mhm.
And then it's also tough, though, because New England's also looking at drafting a quarterback. And if you're trying to develop Drake May, then why would you pick up Mike Vrabel as your head
Mhm.
coach? It makes no
Yeah,
sense.
you have to get a young, good offensive coordinator to
So
pair with him.
for me, I think Vrabel is perfect place for the Chargers.
Yeah. Chargers as well. I mean, obviously they have the defensive playmakers that you could use, and putting Mike Vrabel with a quote unquote franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert is something Vrabel's never had in Tennessee. So, yeah, I think the Patriots. I would agree.
I think the Patriots are the top spot if Belichick either steps down or gets fired.
Gets fired. But now Ron Rivera, obviously the Commanders coach, getting fired. I don't see him coaching.
I think
again.
he retires.
I think
Yeah.
he retires, and if he does go back to coaching, it definitely won't be a head coaching
It would definitely
job.
be as a coordinator or just a position coach.
Yeah, I just don't think he gets it done anymore. Kind of those old style coaches. He did good things at Carolina, things before that as well, but I think that's it. Arthur Smith.
I think Arthur Smith is going to become a coordinator to try and work his way back up. I don't think no one's going to hire him as a head coach.
No, I mean
Yeah.
after he kind of misused his playmakers
Yeah.
for backups.
He has to earn some credibility back as a coordinator before he
I
become.
don't think he's a bad coach either. It's just I don't understand that.
Did he call the plays?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And,
See, that's where I just can't give credit to
I mean,
him.
you have like B. John Robinson, who's just crazy good, and you have Kyle Pitts, who I mean was quote unquote supposed to be the guy, like the future of the league at tight end, and he's.
And then
been
you also
a
have Drake
bona
London,
fide backup.
who we forget was literally drafted 8th overall.
And he's very good. He's
And
a very
he's good,
solid
yeah.
receiver too. And obviously the Chargers, fired their coach. Obviously, like
Staley.
you said, Rand Staley. Then Bill Belichick possibly getting fired. So we kind of touched all bases there. But let's go to a coach who just won a national championship last night when we were recording this podcast here. Jim Harbaugh, a guy who obviously led the 49ers to a Super Bowl, just now leading the Michigan Wolverines to a national championship. It's been rumored the past few seasons, will he go pro? And he didn't. Well, he's done what he wanted to do in Michigan. He won a national championship. Do you think he goes pro and tries to pursue his dream of actually winning a Super Bowl title, or do you think he stays in Michigan?
I mean, if he wants to go to the NFL, first of all, he will get a job. But
Yeah.
if he wants to, the time is now.
The time is now.
You're just coming off of a national championship. You've completely reshaped Michigan as a football program. You've beat Ohio State 4 times in a row. You've made it to the playoffs twice or 3 times. You just won the national championship. You beat Bama. You beat Saban. All this stuff. If you want to go, the time is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to get a bag if he does go.
And he's either going to get a bag from Michigan or he's going to get a bag there.
Oh,
But-
yeah, either way.
But let's say he decides he wants to go pro. What's the best spot for him? And I'm going to have to go with the Chargers.
The
You have a
Chargers.
franchise quarterback, quote unquote. You have
Let's just say a bright future
a
quarterback.
bright future. You have a good quarterback, obviously, like we said. You have an iffy running back position. You have some good receivers, a decent offensive line, and defensive playmakers. Even though they haven't stepped up of late. Well, they could. But they have some name. Obviously, Joey Bosa's hurt as well. So, just kind of some iffy things. But I think the Chargers are the best spot. I heard the Commanders possibly being in the running for that.
I think
I
I
think
like
there's
the
a lot
Commanders.
of questions. Really.
I do
I
like
think
the Commanders.
anywhere you get a new quarterback would be a good
I think the
fit.
Commanders for Jim Harbaugh, especially if he gets like Drake May with that second overall pick, or if Caleb Williams somehow falls to second.
Is Jim Harbaugh, he's more of a offensive, right?
I think he's offensive. I don't know if he calls plays. No, because the assistant coach called the plays because they always show them calling plays. I think he's more of a player's coach.
Yeah.
I think he is offensive side of the ball oriented.
Yeah, I would say he's more of an offensive sided coach. So that's why you want to put him with the guy, franchise quarterback.
If
Yeah.
so like the Chargers, they already have their franchise quarterback, obviously. So if he goes there, he doesn't really have to mold Justin Herbert anymore because he's kind of already molded. But if you
Well-
go to the Commanders and they draft Caleb Williams, Drake May, mold them into what you want, and rebuild from within. I mean, you already have a couple pieces.
And if Jim Harbaugh goes to the NFL, I think the Commies once again is a perfect.
Manders.
The Manders are a perfect fit again for him, not only because they have a top 2, top 3 pick, but also a team that doesn't have a solidified future quarterback is going to pay you more.
Yeah.
than a team that, like the Chargers, that already has Justin Herbert. So, I mean, Washington has good cap space. They have pieces.
And new ownership this year.
And new
as well.
ownership.
New
Bob
ownership.
Myers.
They just cleaned the house.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
Bob Myers.
Bob Myers.
Golden State Warriors.
I don't know
link.
if he got hired to be like there. I think he's
I-
just there to help find a head coach.
I think he's there to be like the guy. I think he's there. Like,
Really?
I really do.
How
I
do you
mean,
do that? How do you just go from being the NBA, then being an announcer for NBA games, then boom, up, I'm just gonna go with
I
the
don't
NFL?
know, I'm pretty sure he's like the guy. I don't know if he. I don't know. Obviously, there's probably more than one because they're owned by like 4 different people. I know Magic Johnson owns the Commanders, but like, I think he is either the guy that they go to or he's like a consultant.
I think he's a consultant, but I'm not sure on that. Don't quote us.
But I want if they're gonna hire Bob Myers, I think he'd be the guy to go out there and
Who, Jim Harbaugh?
no. Like
be
if
like the
if they hire
GM?
Bob Myers, they didn't hire him just to be a consultant.
You think he's gonna be like
I think he's gonna
going
be the GM.
That's
That's
crazy.
weird to me.
I
Yeah.
mean, he's a businessman and well, business pays, but
I mean, I don't know
to
what
be
he
an
knows about
NFL
football.
GM,
I mean, he was an NBA
Yeah.
GM. That doesn't really translate to.
and yeah,
being an
and people
NFL
are like, "Oh, we
GM.
won so many championships." Well, I mean, yeah, but
He lucked into Curry,
he
and
lucked
then
into Curry and Clay and Dre. I mean,
I don't know
it's
if he
just-
lucked into Clay and Dre. That was kind of good picks, but he kind of lucked into Curry.
Yeah, because
I
Curry.
mean,
wasn't
Curry
even
was like
on
a
that.
10th overall pick, though.
I think
Yeah,
he's
but the the thing is, the Minnesota Timberwolves had
two
picked 2 point
guards.
guards. right ahead of Curry. They picked Ricky Rubio,
Who just retired, by the way.
and then I forget who the other guy
Johnny
was.
Flynn.
Johnny Flynn, right
My
before
goat.
Steph Curry.
Johnny Flynn. Have never seen a highlight reel of his.
Nope, haven't.
And
He's
so,
probably flipping patties right now. I'll just say that.
go to McDonald's, buddy. It's over.
He's probably at a random McDonald's in Minnesota right now.
Nah, definitely like Wyoming.
He's just gone. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. But moving along now to a team that has the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, the Chicago Bears. This guy Aiden's favorite team. And the real
Go
question
Bears.
is, bear down. But the real question is Justin Fields or Caleb Williams. Obviously, with the number 1 pick, they could trade out of it completely if they keep Fields. They could go with a different player at 1, but I don't think you do with a bunch of these good quarterbacks. I think quarterbacks probably will go 1, 2, 3 here again in this draft.
You think 1, 2, 3?
You think Daniels, Penix?
Daniels Penix?
I'd say Daniel good. I think Penix is like a second rounder.
I agree, but I don't know. Like,
Daniels and Penix right there. They're
just
like almost the same
this-
age.
I mean, we've seen
Yeah.
quarterbacks go early, even if they're not that good.
I don't know.
Like Kenny Pickett, for example, win the second round.
Trey Lance.
He was a first rounder.
Oh, that's
Pickett
right.
was. He
Will
was late.
Levis went in the second round.
Will Levis won the second round.
Yeah, but I mean, 3 quarterbacks went last year. Obviously, 3 guys who, obviously, Richardson, Stroud look good.
I
and
think-
Young is iffy, but that team's bad. So, but I think quarterbacks could possibly go at least 1 and 2. So
Yeah,
if you're
1
the
and 2. I
Bears-
think-
At least 1 and 2. If
Yeah,
the Bears,
If the
if
Bears,
you're the Bears,
don't
and you-
trade it.
If you don't want a QB and you want a really high defensive player, you could at least trade back to 3 with
Yeah.
Arizona. But I think it's going to be iffy. But the question is Fields or Williams, and I'm going to say keep Justin Fields. Earlier in the year, you asked me, I'm saying Caleb Williams, but I'm not really the highest on Caleb Williams as I used to be. And Justin Fields showed, I think he can be I don't think he's ever going to be a top 5 quarterback in this league, or maybe even not top 8. But I'll think he'll be a fringe top 10 guy, maybe, if he gets the right guys around him. Him and DJ Moore have built a really good connection, and I just think they could use it on another position group that they need help in.
yeah, I agree. You know, this whole thing about ever since Fields stepped foot in the city of Chicago, it's been get him weapons. And with DJ Moore, like we've seen this year, DJ Moore and like maybe Cole Kmet has been his only weapons. Justin Fields leads the NFL in QBR whenever he throws to DJ Moore. That's a stat. So if you're trading Justin Fields just to throw that connection all away, just to get Caleb Williams, DJ Moore is not going to like that. The locker room is not going to like that. And I think it also matters to if Eberflus goes too. If Eberflus stays, then Fields stays. If Eberflus goes, then Caleb Williams, you are a Chicago Bear. But but yeah, I think you have to trade back to try to maybe get to 3, at least in front of Arizona, because I think Arizona is really the only threat to get Marvin Harrison. So if you can trade back and still get Marvin Harrison Jr., you have yourself a very good team next
So
year.
you go receiver here for the Bears?
I go receiver.
Absolutely.
I go receiver.
I think
easily.
their defense is good right now. I think their defense is really good. I think you have to go offense. And if you have a if you have the ability to get a receiving core of Kmet, Moore, and Harrison, you don't pass up on that.
Plus, they still have the
That would
9th
be
pick,
insane.
10th pick.
And they still have the 9th pick in the
Yeah.
draft. Yeah.
So you can really just if you draft Marvin Harrison 3rd, 4th, then you
Now-
can go pick up a tackle 9th or end.
Or like Rome Odunze out of Washington.
You wouldn't draft 2 wide receivers in the first.
Well, if we traded Fields and got Caleb Williams,
then yeah, get Rome 9.
yeah. But there's a lot of combinations of what Chicago can do here, and it's going to be interesting to see.
What I've been seeing is no matter what happens with the Bears fans won't be mad with whatever option the Bears pick.
Yeah.
Like if they trade Justin Fields, okay, well now we have another franchise quarterback hopefully. If we don't trade Fields, okay, well now we have, a whole bunch of draft capital that we just got for the first overall pick.
And I mean, we saw what the Bears got last year for
Yeah,
trading.
and then Caleb Williams is a way better prospect than Bryce Young, so you should be able to get a
$1
lot more.
million.
way better.
So you should be able to get a lot more.
Yeah.
You would hope. So I think
So you're saying they're going to keep Fields?
they're going to keep Fields.
Okay, so
I think another big reason of Fields staying is Caleb Williams. Like his game against Notre Dame, where he had three picks in the first half, that's awful. Like I don't think Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence is doing that coming out of college because he's getting compared to those guys by some people,
he
which I find
is,
ridiculous.
I don't
And he's
think
not
he
even
is.
close to their level. I think Caleb Williams is overrated, and if you break down a game, he's really not. Obviously, he's good. He's generational, but he's not as good of a prospect as you think he is.
Yeah. So let's note this, by the way. So whenever if the Bears draft Caleb
I
Williams,
think it
he's
all
gonna be
right.
like, oh my, Caleb Williams is him.
Yeah.
You can't do
Hey,
that.
I don't know. Maybe he develops well, but I think if Flus is out, then Fields is out.
Yeah.
But if Flus is in, then Fields is in. It's just
yeah.
how it's going to be.
Luke Getsy's out though.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
He's bad.
Luke Getsy's
Luke
got to
Getsy
go.
Luke Getsy might not find another job in the NFL. And if he does, it's going to be he's going to go back to quarterback coaching because I don't know
Quarterback
what.
coaching. He used to be a water
Nothing.
boy.
He was
needs to get
Aaron.
outta
He was.
here.
You know what's crazy is he was Aaron Rodgers' quarterback coach for 5 years.
Yeah.
I think Aaron
MVP.
Rodgers probably learned more from Brett Favre than he did from
Oh, probably.
Getsy.
I think Aaron Rodgers probably knows more than Luke Getsy. Luke Getsy's probably telling him what to do in practice. He's like, I don't need you. I already
He's
know
like,
all this
nah.
stuff.
What's this guy saying?
And look, he won 2 MVPs off of it. But yeah, Luke Getsy's got to go. That is as a Bears fan, that was the roughest football I've watched in a while, and I saw us go 3-14 last year. So
Yeah, it's definitely something. But now shifting gears to a different sport, the NBA. Let's get right into it. And we're going to go through the tips, then we'll take a grand look at the NBA standings. But Ja Morant officially rolled out for the remainder of the season out of nowhere. It's not like this happened in a game, it happened at practice. And while the Grizzlies, a team obviously that had a really bad record when Morant was out, he came back after that 25-game suspension, and they looked really good. They looked back to that being that top 3 seed in the playoffs type team. And obviously Marcus Smart added to that. They were playing good basketball. And, well, he's done for the year.
Yep.
And so just overall thoughts for the Grizzlies going forward with this season.
This is the worst year for him to get injured on because this draft class is not
It's
good.
bad.
It's not that good. There's no generational talent in this class like there has been
yeah,
in years past or even next year.
Yeah.
At least next year, Cooper Flagg's in that class.
yeah. This class, I've heard all of these guys just a month ago. It's not like I've known about these guys
No.
in college. Even a guy like
I've heard about
Rob
Dillingham.
Dillingham. I've heard about him, but
And then Harper Jr.
he'll be late lottery, and then Harper Jr. and then
Isaiah
Collier.
That's the top 3, and none of them.
and
are
none of them are even gonna go top 5. This class is terrible.
you put them in last year's draft, they're going late lottery.
Yeah.
maybe not even lottery.
I don't even know who's the
Last year's
who's
draft
supposed
was
to be
loaded.
No one knows who's number 1 right now because they're all the same.
It's
tier.
it's all it's either international guys or I don't know his first name, but his last name is Sar. He's up there. Ron Holland's up there. G
Ron
League
Holland's up
Ignite.
there.
Some dude named Nikola Topic, whatever.
It's always
Apparently,
been Nikola.
Nikola Topic
always the
from
Nikolas.
Serbia or whatever.
of course.
I don't even know. I can't even name you another prospect out of this. It's terrible.
I mean, Rob Dillingham, obviously.
Dillingham, Collier, and Harper are really the only
Are
ones
really the
I
only.
know.
It's like the top three,
And
they're all.
Sar and Topic, and I know nothing about them. I just know that they exist.
So this isn't, and then they're all guards, so they really don't need a guard either.
So do you guys think that they have a chance to still
No,
contend, or you
no,
think they're
'cause
done?
how bad they played before.
Yeah, it is true.
I think
Then-
even with Ja, I don't even know. I think they'd
No,
even
with Ja, they
sneak-
were probably at least a playing team.
I
like,
no,
at minimum.
yeah. If Ja was playing, I think they'd sneak into a playoff seed, or no, not playoff seed, play-in seed. Without Ja, season's over.
Season's
Wrap it
over.
up.
Wrap it up. Just.
I love their coach though.
Oh, oh my.
Did you
God,
see
I
him
can't
run out of
remember
the
his name
run
right
onto
now.
the court during the Lakers game?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
that was crazy.
I love their coach. Just how
I
like
can't think
he's
of his
openly.
name right now.
I don't remember his name, but just like how he just like openly hates the refs and just talks about it in the prep.
Talk about us in the
Yeah, I don't know if
presser.
I'm gonna get fined for this, but the refs suck. I love that.
Yeah, it is kind of he's a good coach.
He's a
He
good
is.
coach.
But moving along now to the MVP race. Obviously, we've had a lot of games played in the league, and, well, the MVP race kind of seems pretty open right now. There's a lot of good players, but number one right now, I'm looking at the rankings. Right now, it says the MVP, if the day ended today, would be Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid, who is just averaging insanely stats. I mean, you look at it, 35 points per game.
Yep.
12 rebounds and 6 assists.
40 points per game in the month of December.
That's
Is
just
what he
that's
averaged.
Just crazy. Obviously, they play the Pistons every day. It feels like. I was looking at it. They played like the Pistons, the Wizards, and another crummy team in there, and it's just like, what? It's just like he gets the.
Yeah, I
infinite
want to see him
Pistons
against the
glitch.
Timberwolves and see what he puts up against
He won't play
the
in that
greatest
one.
defense in the league.
Yeah, but keep an eye on this. If he misses 9 more games this season, he won't qualify. You have to play 65 games to
You do have to
qualify
play
for
65
awards.
games.
He's hurt right now. I mean, obviously he's not going to be out for like
I
more
don't
than
think
a
he's
week.
hurt. I just think he's a baby.
Yeah.
Embiid is a baby. He's a guy who I don't think he will ever win a championship as a number one option. So I don't think he will.
Has
Not
it
with the
never-
team. Not with the team he has.
He
now.
hasn't done anything.
I think
in the
I think he
playoffs.
needs more
Yeah.
help around him. I mean, Tyrese Maxey's a good piece, but other than Tyrese Maxey, who else do you rely on to score on this team?
Imagine if they only just paid Jimmy Butler.
Oh my God, Jimmy Butler's on this team.
I mean,
Give him
Tobias
the- give him
Harris
the
is a
chip.
guy who can give you 20 every night.
Not every night.
Not every night, but
Okay,
like,
they had to choose Tobias
occasionally.
Harris or Jimmy Butler,
Jimmy-
and they chose Tobias
Tobias
Harris.
Harris.
yeah,
Just
that's
imagine
crazy.
Jimmy Butler on this team instead.
Okay, but
averaging
to be fair,
28,
Jimmy Butler
4.
was like 30 at that point, starting to fade away a little bit, while Tobias was still like I
He
don't know,
was
maybe
only
27.
27.
Oh,
He's
for real?
He's 30 now.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jimmy
shoot,
Butler's 30
okay.
now.
Okay, yeah, that's a terrible.
Tobias Harris is older than Jimmy Butler.
But I do think trading away James Harden was a good choice for them, even
Well,
though
yeah,
they
it
got like a
opened up for
bag of chips
Maxey.
and a
They
bag
went
of
for
Maxey's-
Maxey.
He's
yeah.
playing really well, 25 a game.
He is.
But MVP, it's keeping on MVP. But Joel Embiid, obviously, first. Do you guys agree with that or no?
I think so.
I think Embiid gets it, but if he does happen to miss those games, who y'all have? If he misses the threshold,
I'm going to take Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
I want to take Shea or I don't like. Are we saying if realistically voter fatigue?
I think they still give it to Jokic.
I think
Jokic on the season.
if it's
averaging
not
26,
Jokic-
12, and 9.
He's only averaging 26.
I'd give it to Shea. He's
The other-
averaging 31, 6, and 6.
off of like 3 steals a game.
And
I still think that Luka's up there though.
Oh yeah, it's definitely
What's
outside
what's
of
Luka
Embiid.
at right now?
Luka's 5th right now. He's averaging
Behind
34,
who? Tatum?
8, and 9. And Giannis
Oh,
is
Giannis is
4th,
fourth. Yeah,
averaging
I'm not giving it to
31,
Giannis.
11, and 6.
I'm not giving it to Giannis.
Giannis is good though.
Giannis is good,
Giannis is crazy. He's been balling this year.
but his team is also good. Luka, the Mavericks, outside of Dame, not Dame, outside of Luka, Kyrie, and I guess now Derek Lively.
So
That team isn't.
So let's just see if we all agree here. So the top 5 in the MVP right now, according to NBA.com, is Embiid, Jokic, Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis, and Luka. Do we agree that's the top 5?
I agree that's top 5.
So you wouldn't slide anyone in and out of there.
No,
no, I think that's perfect.
I think that's perfect.
Okay, and then the next 5: Halliburton, Tatum, Sabonis, Davis, Edwards.
So they have
Sabonis
Hallie
is
at
8th.
6.
They have Allie at 6.
I'm surprised, but Sabonis is that high.
Yeah, he's kind of, but he's been playing really well.
He's been playing really well, but I'm
Is he averaging a double-double? Does
Yeah.
it say?
I mean,
Okay.
usually when you're not the best player on your team,
He's
I guess he
averaging
probably has been this season.
He's averaging about 14 rebounds.
I just
That's
didn't
crazy.
think they would put the secondary.
I don't think he should be above.
I think he's better than
Edwards.
Fox.
You think he's better than Fox?
Fox the other night had 3 points and was 1 for 11 on.
The Kings are
shooting.
just
I
very
mean,
streaky.
it's not- I know that's
yeah,
one
they're a
game,
very
but
streaky team.
And obviously Halliburton doing phenomenal things over there in Indiana. Just
Yeah.
got hurt.
He'll be back 2 weeks.
He'll be back in about 2 weeks. Halliburton obviously averaging about 27, 12, and 2, which is just insane numbers on
50, 40, 90.
50, 40, 90. I mean, I think Halliburton, if Indiana gets another player,
you can make the argument to slide Howie in there over Giannis. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't.
I think as long as
hey,
those
4-1, by the way.
That's true. I mean, he did beat he beat
Pacers
the
have
Bucks
the Bucks
4-1.
never.
But
Tyrese
Giannis,
I mean,
Halliburton.
but okay, they beat Tyrese is 4-1 against the Bucks, but Giannis averages 50 against the Pacers.
Hey, the Pacers
hey.
just got a defender. Maybe they could do something about it.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I don't ever.
Halliburton-
Hey,
I
when they
think
put
as long
Jalen
as
Smith in the
those
lineup-
5 guys ahead of, as long as the top 5 guys are in the league, I don't know if Tyrese gets.
I don't
into
think
the top
Tyrese. I don't think Tyrese slips in over Giannis or Luka.
But the next 5, do you guys agree with those players?
I don't know about Sabonis.
Who would you take Sabonis out and put in?
I gotta look at the rest of the list.
I'll
That
pull it
other
up.
people that have been named are Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, LeBron James,
I would put Kevin
Kawhi
Durant.
Leonard,
I would
I'd put
Kevin
Durant.
and Damian Lillard.
I put Kevin
Durant.
Durant over Sabonis.
Where's Edwards at?
10th.
I put Edwards over Sabonis too.
Oh,
just because
100%.
he's the first. Just because they're the first team in the West.
Yeah, the Timberwolves have been crazy.
You could argue Edwards over Sabonis. You could argue Edwards
You
being.
can argue Edwards like 8.
Oh wait, I don't
7.
know if I have the right. This one says Tatum is 6.
Yeah, there's been an updated one.
I'm on the most updated one, I think.
January 5th, 2024.
I think Tyrese was still 6 on the newest one.
January 6th.
Yeah. So I put Edwards in over Sabonis.
I'd put
I even put probably LeBron over Sabonis.
I think it's got to be my top. I think honestly, the NBA has it perfect right now. I think besides Edwards being 10, I think that's a little disrespectful.
little
So
low.
would you switch Edwards and Sabonis?
Yeah.
I would switch Edwards and Sabonis, and I think it's good.
Because Sabonis.
Davis is also. I'd put Sabonis over Davis.
Davis is also streaky though.
I'd put
Davis
Sabonis
statistically
over
is-
Davis.
I put Sabonis over Davis.
I'd go. Okay,
So
here's
you'd go.
I'd go Davis 10, Sabonis 9, Edwards 8, Tyrese 7, Tatum 6, Luka, Giannis, Shea.
I'm saying Tyrese is 6.
I'm saying Reese over Tatum.
Yeah.
I know they are the first seed, but then again, Jason Tatum's had a lot of help.
Tyrese Halliburton, what he's doing with the Pacers and this team, obviously they're not that good.
There's not a secondary all-star.
But-
Jason Tatum has like 3.
But if we
He's
look
just going
overall,
crazy.
realistically, I think Tyrese is better than Tatum this year. I mean, Tatum last week had 31 points off of 11 for 31. I mean, he shoots like 10 free throws a game, 15.
Yeah.
And I hate making that argument because I don't really like how people
Well, I mean, if you want to take out free throws, I mean, Embiid averages 2.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I'd still put Tatum over Tyrese just because his team is the 1 seed. They take that, as we've seen in the past, they take that into account.
Right.
But I do think Halliburton is better than Tatum.
All right, moving along. The Los Angeles Lakers are a team that is definitely in the struggle bus, to say the least. The Lakers, you look at it right now, they sit with the 10 seed at an 18-19 record, and they're 3-7 in their last 10. Do you think the Lakers should fire Darvin Ham?
I don't know if it's too early.
I think it might be too early.
It might be a little too early because you're not even 40 games into the year. I mean, it's close to 40 games in the year, but I don't know because I don't really know what Darvin Ham does. Because every time I see him, hands in pockets, blankly staring onto the court.
I've never seen him with his mouth open
I've
talking.
never seen him talk.
Except in a timeout.
And
He just
even
doesn't
then,
seem like he does much.
I don't know if I've even seen him with a
They're
clipboard
just
in
like
his
he's
hands.
just like, yeah, LeBron, you got it.
I've
This is
never
your
even
team.
seen the man with a whiteboard in his hands. I think
Yeah.
LeBron draws up the plays, but realistically, he's probably just gonna stay for the rest of the season because LeBron might leave anyway.
I mean, you
Yeah.
go out and get Gabe Vincent. You go out and get Rui Hachimura. You go out and
But
You
then
know.
again, those players have kind of been playing bad.
LeBron's on a
I mean,
long
you've had-
contract.
shoot. You've had quote unquote the best offseason in the league, yet you're lower than 500 and you're in a play-in spot right now. And this team was supposed to be when this team for all 3 of us was a top 3 seed in the West by the end of the year. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going wrong.
Once they won that in-season tournament, the way they were playing in that in-season tournament, I was like,
Oh,
yeah, this
yeah.
Lakers team is
I was
is top
sold
5.
on it.
Yeah, I mean, their defense was crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And then I really think it does come down to AD though.
Yeah, I don't
He's-
think he
I
just
think it
doesn't
comes
step up in the regular season. He
Yeah.
just plays like a
He's
baby.
had good games since the in-season tournament,
But-
but it's not consistent enough, and that's like the real big thing with Lakers fans is AD is like probably the most inconsistent superstar. Not because he plays bad, it's just because it's like he doesn't try sometimes. It's like he doesn't
Yeah.
try to play. Like when he played against the Pacers, the way he was bodying Miles Turner was not even funny. He
He only wants to try it in big games.
was babying Miles Turner Like Miles Turner wasn't 7 foot. Like Miles Turner was.
Yeah,
TJ
he made
McConnell's
Miles
height.
Turner look like he was just like 2 foot tall.
I mean-
2 foot
he
tall.
ate him up.
I mean, let's not forget the Lakers did just beat the Clippers, the red hot 4-seed Clippers,
Yeah, because they're
by
streaky.
3.
They're just not consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a playoff team, you have to be
have to be
consistent. That is the
consistent.
number one asset in the playoffs.
All right, so moving along now to a little bit of a trade talk. So the Knicks, I'm getting there, but the Raptors traded OG Anunoby to the Knicks for R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett obviously back home in Canada. So that's a trade there. The Raptors look like they're going to blow it up. So the question is, where does Pascal Siakam go? And before the pile, we've all selected different teams that have possibilities. And I'm going to let Jalen start.
So, this is a trade I saw the other day. I saw it on Podcast P. Shout out Paul George. Jonathan Kuminga for Pascal Siakam. Not straight up, obviously, because the contracts don't work. But I
Probably
think
have to trade Chris Paul on that too.
I don't know how the contract situation will work, but obviously those are the two main pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pascal Siakam brings to this Warriors team something that is greatly needed, and that is someone that can create offense off the dribble and not just catch and shoot. Because Klay Thompson has lost a step.
Yeah.
He can't do it no more. Draymond's never been able to do it. And you don't have Jordan Poole no more. Chris Paul's old.
And Curry's Curry.
And Curry's Curry, but you don't have another guy that can get his own shot off the
Yeah.
dribble.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just basically just spot up shooters.
I mean, yeah, I understand that. Siakam on this Warriors team would give them that boost they need.
And I think
help them.
Jordan Poole. I don't know throw Moses Moody in there. I don't know how the contracts will work. Probably some picks and stuff like that. Maybe a third team.
Yeah.
But I think that general trade, Pascal Siakam for Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga goes to the Raptors,
and he can be
and
kind
he can
of
be
their star.
yeah, exactly.
So
He can defend. He can score.
He's been playing well lately too. It's
Exactly.
Just,
When he gets minutes,
yeah, that curve bench.
and he'll get enough minutes on the Raptors. That's for sure. Because they do not have that good of players on that team.
That is true. He will play.
Other than Scotty Barnes and Siakam, that's about it. Oh, I guess they have R.J. Barrett and Emile Quickly now.
Yeah.
But if they can get what's his name
Who?
Who?
Kuminga?
Yeah,
Oh.
I forgot.
Obviously,
Kuminga.
the come bucket.
Funny nickname, but he's a really good player, I think, and him on that team, I do think he could be a guy in the next season who, if let's say that happens, could be in the name for a most improved player. But go ahead.
For my pick, where Pascal should land, it's going to be the team down south that's led by Luka Magic, the Dallas Mavericks. I think the Dallas Mavericks are 1 star away from being a true contender in the West. For a ring, probably not, but they'll compete in the West. This Western Conference is absolutely star-studded. They're going to lose. They're going to go backwards, if anything, if they don't make a trade. Because, we see how the Clippers just traded for James Harden. The Timberwolves, they just traded for Rudy Gobert last year. We thought it was a terrible trade. Now they're the best defensive team in the league. The Thunder, they just drafted Chet Holmgren. He's one of the best shot blocker, if not the best shot blocker in the league. They need to start making adjustments. They need to adjust to this new Western Conference. And you're just not going to do that if you just have a rookie in Derek Lively. You need to add another piece to that front court. So I think that's what they need to do. A possible package could be maybe Dwight Powell to send back, maybe Jaden Hardy, and then a few picks.
They'll probably have to start with Jaden Hardy because they
Yeah.
need someone young to replace him. So the conversation will probably start with Jaden Hardy.
And then maybe Dwight Powell to give him another big
maybe
as a
like
replacement. Josh Green, maybe even Grant Williams, even though he just signed there, but probably not. And then obviously you're going to need to give him a few picks. So that's where I'd stand on that is Dallas.
It's a good pick.
And actually, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to go with a team in the Eastern Conference. I'm going to take the Indiana Pacers, a team that's been rumored in the Pascal Siakam sweepstakes for a little while, and a team that I think is really one piece away from being a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, the Pacers have Tyrese Halliburton, a guy who has been doing phenomenal things, one of the best players in the NBA. But the Pacers, one thing they cannot do, they can score better than anyone in the league, but they can't play defense. They've done better of late, but they still are a bad defensive team. And I think with Siakam bringing, even though he's not the best defender, he still can guard. I think the Pacers, if they can somehow get him without giving away Jarris Walker, that will be huge. But
Or Ben.
Or Ben Mathurin. and I don't think they're trading away Ben Mathurin.
No, not at this point.
But just if they can get him without Jarris Walker, but I don't really want to trade Walker for Siakam.
But then again, I think we all have to remember that Siakam's on a 1-year deal.
Yeah,
so you don't want to give up too
leave.
much because he might just leave.
Obviously, if you're the Pacers, you might want to give up. I don't know. They just without
Maybe
Walker.
like Jalen Smith or Isaiah Jackson.
Yeah,
just for replacement.
One of them, Jalen Smith or
Maybe
Isaiah
you're gonna have to
Jackson.
give away the hustle god, T.J. McConnell.
I heard the Pacers are not fielding offers at all for McConnell.
Yeah, McConnell's been playing too well.
He's
and
good.
He loves
Like I
Indiana.
heard that he's untouchable.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't
Which is
blame him. I
crazy,
mean,
but-
he's
T.J.
the glue guy.
McConnell. T.J. McConnell, besides Benedict Mathurin, he's the single reason the Pacers upset the Celtics last night.
Yeah, and I mean, you could look at it. Obviously, Andrew Nembhard's another young guy,
Yeah.
as well, Canadian as well. So
Maybe Jarris Walker, unfortunately.
Walker's a name. There's a lot of things they could do, to possibly get Siakam. Buddy Hield's a name that I've
I think
heard tossed
Nwora
around.
Nwora's going to be in there.
Jordan Nwora,
'Cause
another
he just
young
doesn't get
guy.
minutes.
Yeah, but
Spot up
he
shooter. They
would-
need one of those.
He'd play well in Toronto.
Yeah, he would.
So, I think the Pacers, if they can figure it out, I think he'd be the best place for Siakam. And if they can do that, I think that'd be really crazy. But moving along now to our final topic of the day, we're going to be taking just a grand look and giving our thoughts on the NBA season, really 35, 36 games in. And while you look at it, Western Conference, and it's just kind of not expected. I think no one would have expected the Timberwolves and the Thunder to be the top two teams
Top
in the
two
West.
teams.
But just the Timberwolves, obviously the best defense in the league. Anthony Edwards taking just a big step. Karl-Anthony Towns coming back into his own. And Rudy Gobert, after having kind of a down year last year, back to Defensive Player of the Year-esque type play. The Thunder, obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then obviously the rise of Chet Holmgren as well. They have some other really phenomenal role players over there, and Josh Giddey. And then the Nuggets, reigning defending NBA champions, and the Clippers, a team that traded for James Harden and lost the first 5 games.
Yep.
They've been on a tear of late. They're a team 10 games above 500, and then the Kings are 5, Mavericks 6, Pelicans 7, and the Rockets are still, even though they've struggled of late, they're 18 and 17 on the 8th seed. But what's your guys' takeaway on the Western Conference?
I think the bottom of the West is kind of crazy because if you asked me at the beginning of the season, I say that the 9 seed Suns, 10 seed Lakers, and the 12 seed Warriors will probably be in the top 5 by this point.
Mm-hmm.
And they're bottom 5. Not bottom 5, but Warriors are out of the playoffs right now. Lakers are barely in the playoffs. They're only 1 game above the 11 seed, the Jazz. And the Suns are 19 and 18 as the 9 seed. They're behind the Rockets right now and the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm.
You told me that if you were telling me that at the beginning of the year, I wouldn't believe you that the Suns were going to be this bad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that big three hasn't had a chance really to play.
No,
together.
but even still with just having KD and Devin Booker,
Yeah,
I understand that their
they
bench
should,
sucks.
They should be better than this.
I understand that their
19.
bench sucks.
I don't think they ever should have traded for Durant. I think Durant's necessary.
I don't think they should trade for Bradley Beal,
No, that was kind of silly because he's been banged up past few seasons.
especially giving up as much as you did. You have no depth.
No depth.
No depth.
They just look like the Nets did a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
With Durant. So, yeah.
What's so interesting about this Western Conference is just how good it is, how deep it is. I mean, I just looked. Mavericks and Pelicans are both 22 and 15. Those teams are both a 3 seed, a 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. I mean, this Western Conference is going to be fun when it comes around playoff time.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't want to say whoever comes out of the West will win the whole thing because the Boston Celtics organization exists. But looking at it, I mean, the Timberwolves, the Thunder, they're all rising. And then, like you said, there's some disappointing teams. It's such a shakeup this year. And I really don't know who's going to come out on top because now that our top 3 picks, like Nuggets, Lakers, Suns, I mean, the Nuggets are playing well, but the Lakers and Suns are playing bad. It's a complete shakeup, a complete 180 from what I thought it was going to be, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the Timberwolves, I mean, if they're holding teams to 103 a game,
Their defense is great.
I think they'll stay the first seed for the rest of the year.
I think
Anthony
it's
Edwards
possible.
has really
Anthony
came in to be a
Edwards.
top 10 player in this league. And really, it kind of took a Dwayne Wade-esque jump whenever Miami won that first title in
Yeah.
2006. I could definitely see the T-Wolves pulling that off. And shout out to Minnesota. This is a franchise that's been in the dumps for a long
Yeah,
time.
because people thought after that Rudy Gobert trade that they were just going to be
They're
done.
finished.
They're cooked, yeah.
Yeah, and they were cooked last year. But this
Yeah.
year, they've turned it around. So I would say the surprise of the NBA has been the T-Wolves
Yeah.
and the Thunder.
And the Thunder.
But Kind of the disappointment, like you said, the Suns. The
I
Lakers.
think the Suns are a bigger disappointment than the Lakers. I know
Yeah.
the Lakers had a good offseason, but the Suns just.
Especially the Warriors. The Warriors have been the
But
worst.
I mean, even with the Warriors, I was like, they're not going to be a top
Mhm.
5 seed.
And then
I
obviously
thought they were at least going to be in a play-in.
I think they're going to be
Yeah.
a top 8. I think
They're
gonna-
12th right now in the Western
No,
Conference.
they're not even in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
They're behind the Jazz.
And I mean,
The
God, I
Ja-
don't even want to know about
it's
this.
the Jazz.
it is the
like
Jazz. The
this-
Jazz are the Jazz.
The Jazz did
And
just
the
beat
Spurs.
the
The
Jazz
Spurs
did just
are
beat
just
the Bucks last
awful.
night, though.
Spurs are bad.
The Spurs are awful.
Oh, yeah.
Besides Wemby, there's nobody
The-
on that team.
Jeremy
Did you guys
Sohan-
see
Devin-
Jeremy
Devin
Sohan's
Vassell
airball?
is
Oh
not
my
bad.
Jeremy
God.
Sohan needs to be benched immediately. They
Devin
need to-
Vassell's not that bad.
Devin
Sohan
Vassell
still being
is
the starting
amazing.
point guard is insane.
I know. The fact that they haven't started, it's not Tyus, it's the other one.
Trey
Trey.
Jones.
Trey
Trey.
Jones. The fact that they haven't started him yet is crazy.
Pop
He's
is
like
just-
the only true point guard on
He's
this team.
unfazed.
I think their starting lineup should be Trey,
Vassell,
Vassell,
Keldon Johnson,
Keldon Johnson, Zach Collins, and Wemby.
and Wemby.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still a terrible starting 5 in today's
But
NBA.
Devin Vassell is tough. I can't.
Oh,
lie.
he's-
Devin
he's
Vassell is the second best player on this team easily.
Is he averaging
He's got to be averaging at least 18.
20? No,
I'll look at it.
Is
He's
he
got to be
at
averaging
20
at
yet?
least 18.
What's Wemby averaging? I think he's barely at 20.
Yeah, I think he's around 19.
Let's see. Devin Vassell is averaging. Hold on. Y'all talk for a second.
So
Research. But
18.7. Okay, there we go.
he's not that
18.7.
bad. I think Vassell's pretty solid. Keldon Johnson's a guy who played for Team USA a few years ago as well.
yeah.
He's a pretty solid player as well. But moving along to the Eastern Conference, and there's some surprises here too. But let's just break it down. The Boston Celtics, 28-8, the best record in the NBA. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've looked good. Did lose last night to Indiana though. The Bucks, 25-12. 4 of their 12 losses have came to the Pacers. There's a theme I'm getting to. The 76ers, 23-12, obviously with the MVP front runner, Joel Embiid, and then the Orlando Magic.
Orlando Magic.
Orlando Magic.
They've been playing really well. I really like this Orlando team. They're fun, and Pablo Banchero has just been on another level of late.
He's averaging 33 points per game in his last 6 games.
Yeah, I mean he's taken that star level. I think he'll
Yeah.
be an
He'll be an
all-star
all-star
this year. And Franz Wagner, he's just so good.
Franz
He's-
Wagner, whatever. He was on my 2K My League team. Still can't say his name. But he's another guy who's averaging about 22 a game. He's really good, and they have some really good role players.
They're a
as
fun
well.
team.
They are a fun team.
Jalen Suggs and all that too. The Miami Heat, a team that kind of struggled at the start of the year. They figured it out. Obviously, they just went to the NBA Finals. They still have Jimmy Butler. They're going to be up there.
Yeah.
The Indiana Pacers, another team that we've talked about a little bit, who have played really well, winning 7 of their last 8. 7 of the last 8. They've looked good. 21-15 for them in the 6th. And the Knicks just traded for OG Anunoby. They've won 4 straight since they traded for him. 7th seed, obviously Cleveland. The 8th seed, Cleveland has a lot of injuries. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, kind of iffy. And then the bottom of the East is just kind of the Bulls, Nets, Raptors, those kind of fringe teams.
Hey, let's talk about the Bulls for a second. How about Kobe White?
Kobe White has been balling.
He's been balling,
Kobe White's
25
been
a game.
balling.
He came out of nowhere. I mean, who got hurt for them?
Levine.
Levine went down, and White stepped up. He kind of turned into that player they thought he always would be.
I mean, this team was 6-14. Now they're 17-21. They're looking to
Yeah.
get over 500, which is something we thought we'd never say.
Yeah, I still don't think they're that good. But I think the East is between 7 teams.
I think the way the East looks right now is like these top 8 teams are gonna be the 8 teams that make the playoffs.
I think the Magic are like, as much as I hate to say it, like as fun of a team, as fun a young team they are, they're gonna fall off eventually.
Oh, if they play the Heat first round, they're losing to the Heat.
I think they'd lose. I don't know.
Well, you think
I mean,
they're
okay,
gonna fall off?
if they play like a Bulls, if the Bulls win their play-in game somehow or something, they'd beat them. But like if they played like a Cavs or a Knicks, I think they're gone.
Oh, I don't think they're gonna stay I don't know if they're gonna stay the 4 seed the whole time. Well, I say that this team, like how the East looks right now, is gonna stay the same. I'm talking about the team's gonna stay the same. That's not gonna be the same order because seed 4 through 8 are
This
all
is crazy.
21-15.
Yeah, I mean,
They all have the
you
same
look at
record.
it, and
Cavs could go from the 8 seed to the 4 seed
Just
tomorrow.
with one game.
yeah, I mean, the Cavs, obviously, like you said, Cavs, Knicks, Pacers, Heat, and Magic, all really good teams. All have teams that have different things.
Yeah.
So it's definitely interesting. But
I think it's time we start talking about the Detroit Pistons being a contender.
hey,
you know-
hey, your buddy Killian Hayes, by
Hey,
the way.
you
Hey,
know,
most improved player, he said.
yeah.
3 wins, by the way.
Hey, 28 straight losses. If that doesn't scream champions. I don't know what.
I told
does.
Aiden this the other day. If the Pistons could win 60 to 70 games, they can feed the whole city of Detroit with Wingstop, with free
yeah.
Wingstop.
Yeah, I mean,
sadly, the whole city of Detroit is gone hungry. They are 3
they
and
are
33.
starving. They are not eating good tonight.
Poor fans.
Wingstop called the. They have to call the league and be like, nah, we can't do this no more. You can't let them win.
They made a call.
They made the call.
They made the call. But yeah, I mean, what's your guys' surprise team in the Eastern Conference?
It's definitely the Magic.
It's got to be the Magic.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Orlando.
Originally before the season started, I don't think any of us had him even top 10.
I had him 5.
You had him 5.
He had
Okay.
him 5.
I
I had him in the plan.
I think I might have had him 10 or
I
11.
was really high on the Magic. I was, and I know
I mean,
ball.
I've always
it's
thought.
just-
I mean, they've always had pieces. I mean, this is basically the same exact team as last year.
Barquero, I thought he would take a step.
Yeah.
So and Wagner as well. I thought he'd take another step, and well, he did. Indiana's another team that's up there. Tyrese Halliburton taking a step into a superstar level.
Yeah.
And the Knicks, they could be a scary team with OG Anunoby, another perimeter defender as well.
That's a lot of defense.
A lot of defense.
Is Mitchell Robinson out for the years?
I have no clue where he's at, but Jalen Brunson.
Hey, and even if Mitchell Robinson is out, I mean, Hartenstein's stepping up and he's playing great.
But Mitchell Robinson's better defensively, so that's why I was saying if you have a Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, and OG Anunoby front court,
that's defense right
defense.
there. But we're gonna wrap it up there. It's been a good show. It's good to be back, episode 10.
Of course.
We made it. Hey. But of course, go follow us on all social medias. Roll the Tape Sports. Go follow us on TikTok. New videos of coming out every day following today. So starting Wednesday, January 10th, one TikTok a day coming out. So make sure to go like and follow us there. Obviously, wherever you're watching this, drop a follow. But it's been fun as always. Until next week, we'll see you then.
Yes, sir.
See you.